And we're live. All right, getting started. Let's see. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Just getting started. I might flip-flop between doing drawing Molly as a magical girl. As you can kind of see, I'm already getting a little bit started with that, and working on a shot I'm animating for episode 2. We'll see. A little bit of back and forth. Should probably look up more reference for magical girl outfits. Not the most knowledgeable. They often have pleated skirts, frills. As you can see, this is a very rough sketch, just getting started. But that's how I roll. I usually start really loose, really scratchy, roughing things out before things start to fall into place. She'll have to be, she'll have to have her magic wand tool, whatever that's gonna be. Chat open. Amir, hi Travis, I'm a fan of your show and like Molly so much. Oh, thank you. Thanks for stopping by. I know I'm doing Saturday morning for me today because I know a lot of folks in other parts of the world have been kind of wanting to not have to stay up super late for a stream, and I want to oblige. Plus, I'm busy Sunday evening this weekend, so Saturday morning just felt right. But no, thank you. I've been enjoying doing these streams, and you know, hard at work on episode 2. It's gonna be good. Glad to have you here. I'm kind of just plotting out real rough details. It's pretty wonky. All right, Cryptomanticore, salutations. Illuminated, woke up multiple times throughout the night. My watch says 6.5 hours of sleep, but it doesn't feel like it. Ooh, yeah, I relate to that. Sometimes I'll end up getting like a proper like 8 or 9 hours of sleep, and I'll still feel as tired as if I had gotten like 3 or 4 hours of sleep. Sleep math don't make no sense, for sure. Well, I'm glad to have you here. Glad that you are up and around. Kind of just warming up on this magical Molly. Kind of figuring out some of the uh, portions, making sure that the limbs are relatively matching, but the overall stylings of things kind of makes sense. Might add a little more dimension to the torso. Magical girls tend to have big bows on their chest. Seems like I'm noticing a trend. I guess for those who are on, you might notice that I don't have sound. I don't have music on this time. Haven't gotten a copyright strike or whatever they're called yet, but I've been getting a lot of emails after I finish my streams where it's like, hey, we noticed all these songs that were being played during your streams. They've counted them all, and it's like, you know, uh, still kind of figuring out the best way of getting music on streams without having to either pay for licenses and whatnot. I think there's a way of doing it. I think I just need to update my OBS system uh, and check some of the YouTube settings, like separate the music so the video afterwards doesn't have the music. That might be a thing. I know it's a thing for Twitch, but I don't know if it's a thing for YouTube. Anyway, so all that to say, yeah, I recommend you finding whatever music is best for you to listen to while the stream is happening, and maybe share your recommendations for music. As is usual, I'm listening to like some relaxing video game music to study to. That's kind of my go-to. All right, I want to kind of little portion-wise. I know where everything's connected. Before I start honing in on details. Solero, hello everyone. It's great that the stream is earlier today. Of course. No, yeah, I know that you've you especially have been having or it's super later on, or when I do my Sunday streams, it's very late for you, and figured might as well. We can do an earlier stream. And it's kind of nice. I'm usually kind of bumbling around Saturday mornings, not really doing much of anything. So this actually is kind of nice to kind of start the day off with some art. Feels nice. Let's see, worst case scenario, you can search out no copyright playlist. I did do a little bit of that. I think the problem is that I start playing those, and then when those ones wrap up, the algorithm sends me to stuff that does have copyrights on it, and I just need to be careful about that. But no, yeah, I'm still figuring out some of that stuff, copyright music. That's good general proportions. She's a little more chibi-ish, I think, but then again, her head, chest, and hips are about the same size proportionally. At a little bit smaller. Okay, now I can go in and add some details. Press save. And we'll go ahead and just start roughing out the head. Everyone's having a good start to their weekend. Oh yeah, I guess I could just loop the copyright-free playlist. That's a good point. Next time for sure. Oh, Hot World. Oh my god, I love the sketch. Thank you. Yeah, I think someone last stream mentioned like, make Molly a magical girl. Because I mean, she kind of is a magical girl. She has magic. Not everyone can see it, but she has a special kind of magic. Uh, all she needs is like, yeah, a magical wand and a special second outfit to change into whenever she does her magic. Maybe They- Maybe there are certain times when she has to close a sale, she like her blazer turns red or something like that. I know there's a lot of real estate agents wear the red blazers. That would be funny. He has a magical girl. Got the fangs. Sure. Eyes are actually looking at the thing she's looking at. He's so silly. He has a big eyes and a big grin. Not much room for anything else on her face. Let's see. She's looking up there at that thing. Question: will the show of Dungeon Flippers continue and take a buttload of time? At the rate things are going, that kind of seems to be the case. I don't want it to be that way. Um, I'm trying to work at getting better at leading groups of people because I tend to just because I'm a little bit of a jack of all trades when it comes to production stuff. I tend to be like, well, I'll just handle all the designs. I'll just rig all the characters. I'll just animate and comp everything. I'll just do this, and I need to allocate more responsibilities to other people helping me out and stuff. And it's a bit of a learning process, especially when with it being an indie production. I don't want to overtax people. Like if I were providing like really good pay for stuff, then obviously that's whatever. But usually, um, even though I have money from the Kickstarter and Patreon and stuff, I know I'm never quite paying people what they're worth, even in the best situations. It seems like so I don't want to have people do too much too much work. But I need to learn to get a little bit better at leading a team to make things faster. And I mean, also, I don't know. I heard the news about Monkey Wrench the other day that they got they're gonna have their episodes on Netflix here the next week, I think, which is super exciting. It's neat to see some indie folks uh, getting some good getting their flowers, getting on Netflix and stuff. Uh, I don't know. I keep my eyes peeled for ways to make production not take forever for future episodes or shorts or whatever I end up doing. Oh, she's so cute. Look at her. She's so happy. Yeah. I know. I spoke with Netflix a few years ago, around the time the Kickstarter was happening, where they were kind of realizing that indie is where it's at, and we're trying to find other shows that they could kind of do like Digital Circus and kind of buy the streaming rights to and whatnot, or kind of give them a platform for stuff. But but they were a bit disappointed when I'm like, yeah, I just have the pilot. I don't have a backlog of episodes or anything, and they're like, oh, well, okay. Uh, so, but it is cool to know that Netflix is aware of Dungeon Flippers. Um, if I definitely if I had more episodes, I might be able to work some out. But at the moment, just the pilot and working on episode 2. Let's see. Ooh, what would Molly's magical girl mascot animal be? Ooh, I know last stream we had talked about Molly perhaps having a pet or a pet mimic that might have been like a purse, maybe like a mimic purse, like a magical mimic bag. I like the idea of her animal mascot being kind of like I don't want to say ugly, but kind of atypical, like maybe like a weird slime. Granted, there are more like sentient slimes in Dungeon Flippers, but man, maybe like a weird slime creature or the mimic bag. Got little teeth on it. Because then it could like puke up her like magic wand or other like her magical makeup kit. Give it a little tongue. Angry eyebrows. There we go. Molly's magical mimic bag. Look, she needs special earrings for this outfit. But I don't know what to do. I mean, usually I either default to her round ones or like crescent moon earrings. Um, let's see. Illuminated. A roadblock for my story came up. The hero is a human. Villain. Number 2. The rock-like apex herbivore. Most of the humans are very human-like plants. But Eder asked me why plants. Because he's concerned that I'm focusing too much on world building. Why plants and not snakes? Sentient tofu. Oh, that's interesting. Now, yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't think there's anything wrong with having a lot of world building. As so long as like you also have, as long as you also have story and characters and stuff. And as far as like, yeah, why plants? Why not plants? I mean, if it's something you like, if it's something you enjoy, um, it's fun to incorporate that kind of thing into the world. I don't know. I think if you like plants, plant people, make some plant people. Let's see. Let me look at some reference for magical girls. Little heart symbol. Big bow. We'll have her mane. Out of the dress. Armpit. Here. A little bit of some kind of shoulder decoration. Okay, somewhere. Oh yeah, I'd heard that. Yeah, some of the some YouTube creators and stuff have been getting demonetized and remonetized. Yeah, I don't really know what's up with that. I hadn't really gotten any messages myself. I know that they're changing some policies on things, but um, whenever I try reading the fine print on policies, my eyes start to glaze over, and I don't quite understand it. So I don't know. It's something. YouTube's ever shifting on its policies, and sometimes it can be odd little changes. I know for my day job, for instance, we do YouTube for kids stuff, and like there's a lot of strange. Well, there's a lot of strange rules. There's a lot of rules. Some of them make sense. Some of them seem arbitrary, but I don't know. I guess when you're dealing with millions and millions of videos, you have to, with international stuff like international rules and stuff. It can get complicated. But yeah, I don't know what the deal is with all the demonetization stuff people have been having. Hmm. So it's inconsistent. We have our little heart earrings. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Some of these little angled thingies. Ooh, Solero says, I recently saw a funny video about the different types of coworkers. So now I'm wondering what types of coworkers would the Dungeon Flippers characters be? Ooh, that's interesting. I know like they're very the Dungeon Flippers characters are very kind of, I want to say office coded, but like they are very much like, they are monsters who work in an office. Well, sometimes. So they do have that vibe of like, more it's kind of the um, grumpier one, and Laurel's more laid back. Karen's, the boss that nobody quite understands, that drags everyone around to do things, and there's definitely kind of archetypes to their office stylings. Do you know what types? Because you mentioned there being types of coworkers. Do you know well what the different types were? I might be able to put the characters into those boxes if I knew what the boxes were. More sparkly. Let's see the skirt. I'm also seeing in references a lot of a wavy pattern. I kind of like those. Hmm. And then the kind of frilly thing underneath the dress. I gotta figure out the Shoulders. Seeing a lot of other really things on shoulders. It's getting there. Avocado plums. Slice. Let's see. We'll give her leggings underneath the skirt. I might not be quite as talkative as usual, but I don't know. It's very chill. I'm very much enjoying a little Saturday morning drawing time. Everyone's having a good morning, good afternoon. And Roselight, how are you this morning? I'm doing great. Like, yeah, it's 10:30 over here. I'm pretty much just plan. I don't really have I don't have too many plans today. So it's mostly just doing this stream and doing a big workday animating on episode 2. Which sounds very chill and very nice to me. Had some pizza last night for dinner. Like, I don't know, good start to a good weekend in my book. Let's see, magical girls usually wear gloves of some kind. As I'm drawing all these hearts on Molly, I was revisiting some stuff, some bits from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3 last night, and I was realizing that there's a lot of hearts on JoJo characters sometimes. I'm like, was are some of the JoJo aesthetic inspired from Magical Girls, but with these big beefy guys? Who knows? Save. Hand. Give her fingerless gloves. Miss Kiwi says, "Lol, I could see it." No, yeah, there's a lot of JoJo characters, especially around late part 3, early part 4, with a lot of heart motifs. And as I'm seeing with these magical girl references I'm looking up, it's like a lot of similar motifs. Interesting. It's coming along nice. On to the well, yeah. One thing I didn't do in last stream when I was drawing the Kung Fu Molly was flip the camera. Later on, when I was kind of looking at it after the stream, I did the the canvas flip, and I was like, oh no, it looks kind of weird, flipped around. I think after I kind of polish up this other hand, I might give it a look and see. Ooh. Cryptomanticore asks, question of grave importance. Given the plethora of magical ingredients also available, what does Molly take on her pizza? Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like Molly tends to like kind of meaty things, so I could see her having like big meat slices of some kind of magical creature on her pizza. But with with it being a magical world, there could be like all kinds of weird stuff. What are those? Like a mandrake roots, and eye of mandrake roots and eyes of newts that could be on your pizza. Now I'm just seeing the witch scene from Shakespeare's Macbeth, but instead of them over a boiling cauldron, they're like putting ingredients on a pizza, like double toil and trouble of stone brick oven boil and dough bubble, adding eyes of newts and things. I forget what other ingredients they list off in Macbeth. Um, I feel like big beast meats and some mandrake root sounds like that could be real good for a pizza slice combination. Which is pizza parlor. Yeah, very much. I feel like I do a lot of witch themed jokes in Dungeon Flippers, both in the pilot and in episode 2. But I mean, I enjoy witches and warlocks and all that stuff. But I just think that those that witches would probably make good pizzas. Gotta figure out what her magic wand's gonna look like. I'm keeping up the heart motif. Okay, heart in it. some little spheres. And let me actually look up some references for magical girl wands. Oh yeah, some of them have like stars. Oh, wings. Oh, gotta have wings. Hold on a second. All about wings. I have some wings. Usually those. Okay, I'm actually get rid of the heart. Diamond D patterns. I'm just jotting things down real quick. Feel like a little lower top. That could work. And with its Molly, we'll get horns. There we go. Solera says Molly looks kind of like Sailor Moon. Now we need a suitable name for a Sailor Sailor Realty. That's pretty good. Sailor Molly or yeah, Sailor Real Estate, Sailor. Oh, I don't know. Sailor Molly's pretty good, pretty straightforward. Oh, good point. Batwings would be pretty good. I will add Batwings, actually. Batwings, good call. A little more monstrous. Think about it. What if I made this have Molly's horns? That looks like a bat. Same time though, I'm like, oh, it's kind of presumptuous having your magic wand just look like your face. We'll have the crystal pattern and an eye. Like a soccer ball. Being pretty fast and loose with it, but that's all right. Oh, Tuxedo Mask Cleveland. That's a good point. I like that idea. Ooh, looking nice. I'm gonna add a little bit more of a rim. The wand. Now it's looking kind of like the Mask of Truth from Zelda, or not the Mask, the Lens of Truth from Zelda. But I like the Lens of Truth from Zelda, so that's all. Oh, gotta add her tail. Usually hidden back there. It's always tricky with Molly is that like she has a tail, but it's kind of, sometimes it's usually hard to see. It's a little bit hidden behind her. It'd be difficult to work into the pose effectively without it looking awkward. Okay. Yeah. All right, now I'm gonna scare myself by flipping the canvas and and see if it looks weird. Let's see. Not bad, actually. Okay. I think I will select everything and scooch it, skew it a little bit so she's a little more balanced and not leaning forward so much. Ooh, taking some processing power on that one. Saving. Yeah, and then let's maybe rotating this a little bit so it's more straight up. There we go. Okay, yeah, that wasn't too bad actually. Okay. Let's see. Put these little guys on a different layer. Item. I think I will. For there. Work on a Tuxedo Mask Cleveland. Okay. So I'm gonna label my layers here. Model sketch. Don't lose track of things. Cleveland. He is a little bit shorter. Just need to look up some. Yes, very kawaii. Tuxedo mask. Make sure I got all those details right. I know he was mostly wearing a suit, but particular kind of suit, top hat. He was often in very dynamic poses. Okay. Let's see. So we could do putting a top hat on Cleveland's going to be kind of a challenge. The way his head's shaped. Have him holding a rose. Feet angled out. Tail. A cloak. Mask. Top hat. A very rough sketch. As we're plotting things out. Okay, I think I can start working from that. Kevin Young says, getting a good hello and good morning. Good morning. Come to the stream. Finished sketching up Molly as a magical girl, which look at it, this arm's a little bit oddly shaped. But yeah, just finished drawing Molly as a magical girl, and now I'm appropriately drawing Cleveland as a tuxedo mask. Having a fun time. All right, Cleveland. Let's get you figured out. often draw Cleveland with a bigger nose than he usually has on model, but yeah, that's fine. There's always a part of me that's like, oh no, I need to look up some reference for Cleveland, when like there's a lot of Dungeon Flippers posters like around my desk. So I was like, oh, let me just look over here and find some reference. Put a hat on this boy. Very silly. You have to have some holes in the back of his hat to put the horns through. And double checking. Swangin' Dragon. Look at the very particular shape of the Tuxedo Mask glasses. Which the more like I keep thinking, granted, I don't know, this was made as designed in Japan in the late '80s, early '90s, I think. But I'm just like, did anyone actually wear? I guess costume party glasses, but like, I feel like these are such a very particular kind of glasses that I only associate with with Tuxedo Mask. And I think like Sailor V also wears these kinds of glasses, but very particular. Yeah, let's come along. So, Tuxedo Mask has a little white bow tie. And he's wearing a tuxedo, not a suit, a different kind of suit shirt than Cleveland usually wears. It has the little tiny collar by the looks of it. Then usually a lot of the images I'm seeing, shirt is open. He's got the white undershirt, the vest. Okay, we're getting there. I need to get his body situation figured out a little more before I start adding details. So let's see. How does his cloak connect? He's got a. His cloak is like buttoned to the jacket. How strange. Let me get his overall body shape figured out before I get too crazy. Shoulders. Arm would be a little shorter. Now we're getting somewhere. Very pear-shaped. Maybe a little less, so. Or rather, let's see, I think what I actually need to do is just lengthen his legs and then just shrink him down overall. That's about right. It does suit him well. I think it kind of combines his, formal, Cleveland wants to, be formal and kind of be a good and proper businessman, but this also kind of adds that flair that I think suits Cleveland, yeah, very well. A little more panache, a little more style. There's been a few times where I've drawn him in, fancier outfits. I'm trying to think of like if that would be. Yeah, I think he probably would be into it. I would say I don't know if he would want to dress fancy all the time, but I think like he would know, like, oh, we're going to this big gala. Like, I have to make sure I uh look good, but like not too like a little bit fancy, but not too fancy. I think he'd be a little bit understated in his style, but he'd still glam it up a little bit for sure. I'd love to have an episode of them all going to a fancy ball or something, a big monster ball. You'll have to wear, fancy suits and dresses and stuff. That'd be really fun. Have some kind of Phantom of the Opera kind of vibes. Yeah, mistakenly calling the Ace of Wands the Ace of Spades. I mean, yeah. I've heard that the tarot suits, wands, swords, cups, and pentacles. It's the same. I don't know which one came first, or if they have a common ancestor, but that's the same way with playing cards. It corresponds to wands as clubs, spades as swords, diamonds as pentacles, and cups as hearts. Like I know that's neat. I think the ace of clubs, perhaps. Yeah, I got a network as a realtor. Like it's important to go to the swanky events and let people know about the dungeon flippers. Little rose. Have an awkward grip. I'll circle back to it. Ooh, the ace of clubs owns a fancy club. That'd be good. Like that. They'll kind of just roughing him out. Oh, almost forgot his tail. And have it meant to look though. Little tail. Look. There. So kind of just rests down there. Little feet. Gussy up his hand a little bit. A rose, more like so. Ooh, a ball with dancing. Let's see, I wonder which of the Dungeon Flippers is actually good at dancing. That's a good question. Well, let me think. Dancing. In some ways, I feel like they'd all be pretty bad. I know. I guess it depends on the type of music. I feel like, let's see, because Laurel, I feel like Laurel would have the skills for dancing, but because he wears, pots on his feet, he's a little bit, say, terrestrially challenged. I feel like in his astral form, Laurel can dance pretty well, but like on the physical plane, Laurel struggles to not only like kind of move around quickly, but also to like dancing would be a bit challenging. Um, I feel like Cleveland is not very well versed in dancing, so he'd be very awkward and not know the right moves. I think Molly would do pretty well, but probably not very fancy. I feel like she'd be good at like a club, but not very good at like a ball. Um, much like the cooking question from last time, I feel like Mort would probably be very, very good at dancing, but only only does it to show off once, very briefly, but doesn't dance for the rest of the evening. Like he'd just be sitting there, in the back, just like watching everything, and then like at the right moment, Mort would come out with like some amazing dance moves, and then be like, "I'm done. That's enough." Uh, Yeah, much like it's a lot like the cooking, because then Karen, I think, would feel that she's very good at dancing, but in fact just jumps around a bunch and makes the floor get all broken up. And then Emma, ooh, would Emma know how to dance? I feel like she's been around long enough that she'd probably know a lot of different kinds of dances. Obviously, she's very stiff. She's made of stone and kind of practical, but I feel like she'd bust out some really old school type dance moves, Emma. There we go. Magical Molly and Tuxedo Cleveland. Looking pretty good. I want to ink these now or maybe save it for later. Hmm. I might switch it up and do a few frames of animation in between. Let me just open up my Harmony file. Whoop. Little little bit from episode 2 that I'm working on. It's one of the few shots that's actually traditional and not rigged. Uh, Kind of this cartoony headspace. Cleveland's talking about what his mom Karen was up to, and so we have it all the kind of hand drawn, simplified with a rough brush style. So she's she's yelling at this poor dwarf, but I have her uh, doing a big growl, working on her kind of vibrating and her tail swishing around, and then she'll reach off screen, grab a big sack of money, and smash them with it, and then eventually she'll kick them out the door. It's gonna be a good time. right now, this is mostly a static hold. But the tail, arms, and head are all kind of moving a little bit with a growl. Having done all that drawing, I'm definitely feeling a lot more warmed up for animating. That's great. Karen, lover with this poor little guy. No, yeah. The the uh the cold open to episode 2 is Karen kind of flexing by scaring and attacking this poor dwarven temple, uh, all in a means of trying to get them to sell their dungeon to her. Uh, so if if you're on a good side, she's incredibly sweet, but if you're anything but that, she's a bit of a menace. But she does pay the dwarves. That's good. Kind of kicks them out of their dungeon, but she does pay them. Oh, this is nice. Because like most of Dungeon Flippers is all using rigs. So it's nice to as I'm kind of leaning into this kind of shot where the lines are a little more wobbly, the texture, little pops and stuff. That's nice. I don't get to do that very often. It's giving me a chance to embrace imperfection, which I don't do very often. Does Karen have any other children? Would Cleveland be the runt of the clutch? Oh, not Cleveland. Cleveland's her only child. She wasn't really planning on having kids. Uh, so Cleveland was a bit of a surprise for her. But she does love Cleveland very dearly. Karen did have a lot of siblings, though. She grew up in it's the Dungeon Flippers equivalent of the Underdark, is for the moment just called the Underlands. That's where Karen grew up. She grew up in a big bunch of dragons deep underground in the Underlands. And eventually she came to the surface and started wreaking havoc there. Are those in the wrong layer? Let's see. Ah, let's see. Text color. I get rid of that blue. There. Okay, and then we'll add a third one into the loop. Only thing really moving is the arms, the tail, and the head. The rest will just kind of vibrate. Ooh, let's see. Could you tell us a little about the relationships the Dungeon Flippers characters have with their families? Yeah, let's see. So Molly, um, kind of grew up, or her childhood was being kind of an only child. Uh, and she has her father Shorn and her mom Frenzy. Molly really likes Shorn, who's kind of a kind of almost like a barbarian warlord kind of situation. He likes to roam around, uh, causing mischief, but kind of for the fun of the fun of just being a barbarian type of lifestyle, kind of just roaming around. And then Frenzy is more of a sorceress. She does a lot of magical stuff, and Molly doesn't really care for her mom very much because she's a bit manipulative and condescending. Uh, so she's likes her dad, doesn't like her mom very much. And then later, after her parents broke up, Frenzy remarried a ghost and has her half manticore, half ghost step siblings who are a lot younger than her, and she has a little hard time connecting with them because more they're ghosts and they kind of do ghosty things, and Molly can't quite relate to them, even though she tries. Um, Cleveland has has Karen, her mom, and it's always kind of a episode 2 kind of goes into this a little bit, the dynamic of Cleveland versus Karen, because Cleveland, he's very kind of he likes things more calm and to make sense and to be in control of things, and Karen is very much a wild card. He loves his mom, but she's kind of kind of causes a mess wherever she goes, and sometimes leaves a little bit of a sour stain on the company's reputation. Um, so their relationship is a little bit complicated. Uh, and then on the flip side, Karen does love Cleveland a lot and sees him as in some ways kind of the true owner of the company, because Cleveland does a lot of the more of the businessy side of things, whereas Karen mostly just deals in acquiring land and keeping, I don't know, ruffians from taking advantage of them. Yeah. And then let's see. With Mort and Emma are kind of so old that like they don't really have much family left. Emma, is obviously very had the wizards who created her, the people of the ancient temple that she used to protect, very close, and is always kind of broken up about losing them. But she's kind of been over the centuries, a little bit aloof and non-detached because she doesn't want to experience heartbreak like that again. So she doesn't form too many bonds with people. She's kind of a loner. I guess similarly with Mort. Mort's very much secretive and stuff. Mort has a lot of acquaintances and contacts, but similarly to Emma, doesn't let people get too close to them. And then Laurel comes from a big family, the other children of the World Tree, but yeah, well, Laurel doesn't quite like the World Tree very much. they're very self-important, rightly so. That the World Tree kind of connects and unites a lot of both magic and the realms all together, but kind of makes for a controlling a controlling parent figure. Um, so Laurel's a bit detached. A little, I guess. Now that I'm thinking about it, a lot of these dungeon flippers are all kind of uh, I guess Dungeon Flippers is kind of a found family kind of a story where a lot of these characters aren't very, I would say, connected or grounded in some ways. Their job and their work, the relationships with their coworker or friends becomes kind of their home and kind of their grounding uh, force, because a lot of them don't really have much holding them up beyond that. Solera says, I love that Splendor has relationships and families with different species and that they can have children. How common is that in the world? I think it kind of depends on the species. I think that's sometimes what I've said a little bit about how why Molly is kind of atypical looking for a manticore, is that there's probably some degree of interspecies relationship, causing her to be more goat-like and not have wings or whatnot. But certain species like dragons or species that have a lot of like I want to say like pedigree or like a certain like tradition that might be a little less open to mixing with other species, but I like to think that a lot of the monsters are a little more open-minded and a little more, uh, I don't know, open to different kinds of relationships. All right, how's that playing? That's pretty good. Oh yeah, to make the tail be different. So yeah, there might be some snooty creatures who are like, no, you have to uphold the centaur way of life. But certain creatures are just like, I like this person. It's cool. We'll figure something out. Oh wait, I should have done that. Gotta make a new drawing. Oh, thank you. Oh yeah, it's coming along. This is really fun for me because I really do mostly work both for my day job and for Dungeon Flippers. I typically just stick to rigs and stuff. So this is kind of me getting to do. I don't usually get many opportunities to do more traditional style animation, and it's a lot of fun. Like I don't think I want to do an entire production this style at the moment, but uh, there's just a couple shots in this episode that are animated like this, where it's like a kind of the rough. There's actually the same texture background from the end credits of the pilot. It just looks real nice, but this kind of papery, worn out texture, and then like these rough lines uh, and stuff. It's nice. I like it. Hard time grabbing this. There, little piece. It's making me appreciate all the things you can do this traditionally that you can't do with or that's more difficult to do with rigs. Just things like foreshortening limbs, being able to make a quick, unique key pose, and stuff. Those things are a little more challenging with rigs, so I'm kind of having fun being able to kind of mix things up. Mighty Elo says, "Greetings, everyone. Greetings, Mighty Elo. Arting goes good. I guess for you and whoever may have joined in just recently. Earlier, I did a sketch of Molly as a magical girl, and then Cleveland as a tuxedo mask. That was a lot of fun. I definitely want to clean up and color these at some point. I'm not sure if I'll do it during the stream or not, but these were really fun. And now I'm kind of switching things up and doing some animation stuff. Animating Karen doing a big doing a big roar. And then she's gonna reach off screen, grab a big sack of money, and hit this dwarf with it. So that'll be fun. OMG, Sailor Moon, my childhood. I'll have to show this to my sister. She loves Sailor Moon. Oh, nice. No, yeah, like if I don't finish up the illustration here, I'll definitely I'll be sharing it on socials later for sure. No, that was fun to draw. I think I need to find some excuse in a future episode or short or something to have Molly do a magical girl transformation just for the fun of it. Solero says the animation looks so good. It's so interesting seeing the making. Oh yeah, as you can see, I kind of have it roughed out in blue. Some of these key poses I'm going to be doing, and at some point I'll have to draw the dwarf reacting to Cairn. But it's coming along. You kind of plot and time out the key poses, then clean them up, add the in-betweens. It's good stuff. I'm gonna try cleaning up this pose a little bit. Let's see, what layer is this on? Okay. There. Erin's kind of. I'm interested in seeing how well she works in her rigged form, but drawing her is kind of fun because she is kind of just a big circle. Uh, kind of fun and easy to keep track of. Let's see. Jeez, oop, wrong way. Ooh, Mighty Elo says maybe they hire a marketer to to advertise their business, and the marketer has them changed into different outfits as potential ideas. Ooh, that's fun. It could be like if you want to appeal to the wizards, you have to like change into these magical outfits. That could be fun. Maybe they find some kind of magic wand that lets them change outfits really, really quickly or something. Or like, we need to look extra fancy right now. Magical transformation, go! This pose is so silly. Might have her like be a little more up actually. As the DC says, "Oh, I'm imagining something like those local car dealership commercials that every region has." Oh yeah, that'd be fun. I thought sometimes about like if in the Dungeon Flippers world there is something kind of like advertisements that like you could use some kind of astral projection to advertise dreams, like the idea of like you're asleep and then like some wizards like I have the best potions. Come down to to my magical store and get these magical potions. Then you wake up and you're like, oh, I have to suddenly have the urge to go visit this magic shop. A mascot that's actually a mimic. Could be fun. I guess if they did do dream advertisements, they could do just about anything. But the same, Molly could astral project, like use Laurel to help her astral project, and then in that kind of astral realm, she could just be like, "Whoosh, magical girl outfit, come to the Dungeon Flippers. We're the best. My magic wand says it's time to sell. Time to go get a new dungeon." But it'd be kind of yeah, like you said, like the awkward local car commercials. I've got to be crazy because these deals are insane. Mighty Elo says, if you were looking for a dungeon, what kind of commercial would you guys want to see? Ooh. Now I'm kind of thinking of the like, I think it was the Rick and Morty episode when it's like, yep, still here, still selling fake doors, real fake doors here. I could see a Dungeon Flippers ad kind of like that, where it's like, yep, look at this. We got all kinds of dungeons. We got leaky ones. We got spiky ones. We got fictional ones. We got ones that are in clouds. Ones that are underground. All kinds of dungeons. There might be like a very obvious green screen, like kind of like rim around them. Oh yeah, yeah, mimics. Yeah, they're just like usually they're disguised as treasure chests, but they're like monsters and monsters in disguise kind of the situation. And he's got a big necklace. You're getting to do weird poses like this, or definitely something I don't get to do with the rigs. So this is neat for me. See, imagine their used car dealership has a massive Karen replica like the big inflated gorillas. Ah, that'd be fun. Just look for the just look for the giant inflatable dragon on top of the castle. Ooh, let's see. Chat be chatting. What we got here? Let's see. Imagine junk mail. You open a scroll and the illusion appears. Advertises the dungeon lounge. Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah, yeah, like a magic scroll, like in D&D. Yeah, where you open it and just like spell activates. Let's see. Imagine you're dreaming about a beachfront property with everything you need, or a dungeon where you fight easily, take out the adventurers, and before it ends, then you get the ad. Yeah, like, did you enjoy this adventure? Did you enjoy this dungeon that you were in? Well, that one happens to be on sale right now. Come to the Dungeon Flippers. Dungeon Lounge does sound nice. I'd be into a Dungeon Lounge, I think. Like just a classy lounge that's, I don't know, got some nice stonework, got a few little spiky things, nice kind of dark decor. Yeah, like the dream is the ad for the dungeon. Totally. Like I think that's what I've heard. I heard a joke somewhere where it's like that. Sleep is the what is it? Is the trial experience of death, but it comes with ads in the form of dreams, which is very true. Let's see. Mighty Elo says, or imagine you were having a nightmare and suddenly there is a Dungeon Flippers commercial. You're like, oh no, a scary thing is chasing me, and then wait, why am I? It's like, are you looking for a dungeon? Ads always show up at the worst time. Let's see. I might not be very consistent. Granted, I guess this is all off screen anyways. Yeah, her head needs to be much bigger. And arms are also a little bit small. Draw her lapels. Let's see. Philip Holmgren asks, have you ever thought about something Viking inspired? Ooh, like a Viking style dungeon, or like yeah, that could be fun. Do like a it's not just a long house, it's a very, very long house. But no, yeah, and like I don't know, boats, like Viking ships are always so interesting. Like you can almost make it like a dungeon that is a would be a series of Viking ships that are like fused together, or like, you know, constructed out of old Viking ships, and uh these kinds of things. And like some of the what's like some of the old Norwegian churches that don't use nails, where it looks, you know, very, very cool and pointy. There's some good ideas for some good Viking type dungeons and things. Would be nice. Oh yeah, and runes. Yeah, runes would be great. No, that was a nightmare, wasn't it? Well, you know what isn't? The prices on these locations. No, please, I can't go back to my circus nightmare. Remember, dungeon flippers for all your dungeon needs. Yeah, it's just like, and now back to your dream. No, please. That's a lot of fun. Yeah, I'd love to do a. Once again, I don't know if either work it into an episode or have a short or something like that where it is like, yeah, just a silly ad. I need to get back in touch with them. I was offered a sponsorship with a group called World Anvil that kind of is like world building stuff for tabletop games. Which I was like, oh, I'd love to, but like, you know, it's gonna take forever for this episode to get made. But I had already envisioned in my head like the idea of a Dungeon Flippers ad for World Anvil, where it's like, look, Leland, look what I found. It's the World Anvil, and it's like an anvil, and it's like you hit it and it makes a world, like, and they keep whacking it, and like whole worlds of like things just start appearing around them, like they're suddenly like in a grassy plain or something like that, and like, you know, and all this stuff that you can make maps and logs and all kinds of stuff, and like, you know, and being a little on the nose with it being an ad, be fun. Keith Carson, uh, let's see. Oh wait, hold on. There's some different stuff happening. No, yeah. Uh, Keith Carson says that asking if the Dungeon Flippers could fix up the back rooms. No, yeah, I did do that fun drawing like a month or two ago of of the Dungeon Flippers in the back rooms. Um, because like, granted, I haven't seen the movie, but I kind of know the gist of what happens in there, and obviously getting out and dealing with what's in the back rooms might be a challenge, but I do feel like Molly would be very optimistic about the potential of the back rooms, because there's all kinds of stuff you could do in there. Um, but yeah, surviving and getting out, different question. We'll see. Yeah. The Viking dungeon could be a budget option. I bet a lot of dungeon they try to sell are very expensive for the. You know, no, yeah, like definitely. I feel like there's a whole realm of the ideas of like starter dungeons, like the little a small a small dungeon just to start you off with. It isn't very expensive, like quite literal holes in the walls, um, for you to hide your treasure in and hide out in. But then, you know, eventually you can upgrade to like, you know, a multi-room dungeon, or eventually like a big castle or something. Yeah, yeah. I'm starting to see the back rooms. Ooh, hold on. Oh, whoops. Oh no. layer am I on? Oh, okay. That's interesting. There. Yeah, that's starting to look like what we're looking for. I can work on polishing up this breakdown pose. Erin's going to keep her foot where it was. I'll check my layers. What layer am I on? Okay. Overlay, onto the underlay. Keep that foot. Okay. Those goblin-infested caves are actually a bunch of goblin roommates who decided to pull the room. I mean, that's honestly the way I think about it. A lot of these, you know, because when you're playing games or whatnot or things like, there's a lot of monsters in a dungeon. Um, so I sometimes think like, oh, maybe they're roommates, or perhaps like it's like an apartment complex where everyone like, this is my room, this is my little spot in this big dungeon. Um, and the boss is just subletting rooms out to different monsters who are living in them. But then, yeah, little goblin caves. You could have 3 goblins who are, all sharing the space. I feel like Molly and Cleveland probably, yeah, they probably find some way of working out an angle for the digital circus. You can make whatever you want to in there. It's kind of like the back rooms too, where you can design and construct and I don't know. It'd be a good place for planning and dungeon designs in the digital circus for sure. Let's see. Start with a circle. Oh yeah. Making a 3D model of Molly and Cleveland would be really cool. I tried like a year or two ago. I tried making a low poly Molly a few years ago in kind of the style of Animal Crossing. I didn't get very far in it though. I haven't really done much 3D work, but it'd be so cool to have make 3D models of the characters for sure. Let's see. Ooh, we talking stuff. Let's see. How long does it take to animate 1 minute? It takes a while. Like some of the scenes, it could take me weeks to animate a whole minute. And definitely animating traditional like this takes a lot longer than it does with the rigs. A lot of the rig scenes, like they'll have the characters who are standing around and talking, and I can usually get through like a shot, like a mm, like what is that? I guess with work, it's often like 20 seconds a week. So it end up taking like, yeah, several weeks to do a whole minute worth of animation. But some shots are really easy, and some shots are really hard. Like if you have a whole bunch of characters or a really complicated movement, it can drastically change how long it takes. Whereas like, just standing around talking shots can end up like you can end up breezing through a lot of those pretty quickly. So it kind of varies. But I know with working like the jobs I've had in the past, it was usually kind of expected for rigged animation to get like 20 seconds worth of footage done in a week. But that's also like working full time, so it takes a while. Keith Carson says the Dragon Landlord kept buying up all the spaces. No, yeah, nowhere do you gotta fight hordes of monsters before you can get to the dragon. No, yeah, for sure. The boss is very much the landlord. It seems like. This drawing, I just have to draw more beads. There we go. This is still pretty rough, roughing things out. Hey, Sarah the Champion animating today. Yeah, let's see. I'm working on this part where Cleveland's telling Molly about how what Karen did with the dwarves. So I got her roaring here. And then she's gonna reach off screen, grab a big sack of money, and hit the dwarf with it. Fun stuff. But also, I guess for you and whoever joined up here recently, earlier in the stream, I did a sketch of Molly as a magical girl and Cleveland as Tuxedo Mask, which was a lot of fun. I'm planning on inking that and coloring that probably later on today, and probably not during stream, unless I really feel like doing it. We'll see. But it was a lot of fun to draw these two as a magical girl and boy. But no, yeah, this is one of the handful of more traditionally animated shots in episode 2, and I've kind of been excited getting to work on it. So, uh, just working away on a few of these frames and stuff, to embrace imperfection a little bit. Yeah, Solera, you beat me to it. But no, yeah, Sarah the Champion is actually Molly's voice actress. Not to put her too much in the spotlight just this moment, but no, yeah, like that's her, Molly's voice actress. But no, glad to have you on stream today, or in chat today. I've just been here drawing and answering questions. We were having a lot of fun talking about like the possibility of like cheesy like car salesman ads, of like the idea of advertising in dreams where you're having a nightmare and then suddenly it's just like, are you looking for a dungeon? Like, no, check out the dungeon flippers. Anywho, now back to your dream. interesting too. This like it was only recently I updated Karen's outfit because originally her outfit was a little too much like the human world clothes. Still kind of her original spelling of her name was Karen, like Karen, and so she was wearing kind of what I associate as the like standard middle-aged woman outfit of like a very loud top and black pants. Um, but animating the stripes of her shirt with rigs would have been an absolute nightmare. Um, and so I kind of decided to update her outfit to be a little more punk rock, a little more definitely very Susie from Deltarune looking Bowser kind of clothes. But also, like as I'm drawing the lapels on here, it's kind of like as if because she was slimmer when she was younger. The idea of her wearing a blazer that just as over the years, like the sleeves have been torn off, and like it's kind of a little bit comically small on her. But it feels a little more on brand. Philip Holmgren's talking about musical group Star Kid Production, whose show Toon Quest is about DNA. Oh yeah, I've seen some of like I saw what was it Twisted that Star Kid did, and they make some really good stuff. she she do be kind of a Karen, but in a good way. No, yeah, like uh the kind of surface level joke of like, oh, she's Karen, like so she's a kind of aggressive middle aged woman. On one hand, like on the surface, that sounds kind of shallow and surface, and poking fun at things. But like, in many ways, I use it in more of. I feel like I try to incorporate it in a more endearing way, where she is a strong, independent older woman who knows what she wants and gets it. And I don't know this like I find her very endearing with her boisterous kind of aggressive personality. No thanks. Yeah, like I think it's this outfit definitely I think fits her character a lot more than just the blue stripes that she was wearing before. Actually have her leg a little more bent here. He's starting to lift it so she can and look, I might actually see some of that tail too, whipping around. There's definitely a little bit of an awkward in between, but that's okay. This is her kind of well, I feel like she'd still have some of the weight on her foot actually. I'm gonna let's see the previous pose. Doesn't have to be perfectly like the feelings of weight and weight distribution, all that stuff doesn't have to feel perfectly perfect with this being a little more cartoony, but maybe I don't think how to really sell this kind of yeah, she's just crouching a little bit. That kind of works. Although I might actually just lower her all down to the ground a little lower. She is definitely honkered down here in this this drawing. A little strange, but it'll work. She'll crouch down and then she'll kind of splay out more as she's reaching off screen. It'll work. Let's see. It's only natural for dragons to have rounder shape. Maybe even have Molly teasing, teasing Cleveland about starting to get a bit chubby. No, yeah. Let's see. Imagine it was a romantic dinner dream. Oh yeah, the dream stuff. The dreamer's crush leans in close and says, "What would make me happy?" And then suddenly the ad shows up. Yeah. And Sarah says, "I love that Karen's clothing is a little irreverent, a little less professional than Cleveland's. It reflects their personalities nicely." Oh, totally. She does things her way, for sure. Um, I think that I have a somewhere on social media a drawing of Karen and Emma when they were young, like a few hundred years ago, and Karen looking a little more, more, I guess, lean, a little more like Cleveland in some ways, and like still having the kind of like blazer, sleeveless blazer. But no, yeah, like the way that Karen moves around, gets into and out of scrapes a lot, like it would make sense that her shirt gets is all kind of cut up looking, and the sleeves have torn off, and like all this stuff. Whereas Cleveland wouldn't want to get his clothes dirty, or would kind of keep things a little more clean and up to date. But no, yeah, it fits their characters very well. Also having a lot of fun kind of leading into these more exaggerated poses, since this is a lot more cartoony than the other parts of the show. I could have this absurd, it's going to be Karen, her head kind of tilted back and her arm dragging behind her with the big sack of gold coins and kind of this squash and stretch. It'd be a lot of fun. Broternal says, "Love Molly. Have commissioned a handful of art of her and will probably continue to do so." Oh, nice. That's cool. Uh, I always, every now and then, I like to, scour the webs for fan art and commissioned Dungeon Flipper art, and I always enjoy seeing it whenever I find it. OMG, she's like me. I do things my way too. Yes. Yeah, she's very much a boss. She's, yeah, she's powerful. She does things her way. Sometimes she kind of makes a mess of things, but her intentions are pretty solid. She's definitely the wild card of the Dungeon Flippers cast. Everyone's pretty chill and knows what, like, pretty chill and well behaved, but then Karen shows up and kind of shakes things up a little bit. Let's see. Less of an orb. Yeah. He's very orb shaped. Ah, didn't know I had a Patreon. No, yeah, I do have both a Patreon and a merch store. I think the links to those should be in the description. I'm still trying to, while I do have a Patreon, I'm always still trying to think of ways to make it more engaging and more interesting for people. Because I'm still not the most experienced with Patreon, and it's kind of hard to find perks and things for it. I'm definitely open to suggestions of ways to improve my Patreon. Because I don't know, my it would always be nice if I could make enough money to not have to work a day job. I do like my day job, but if I could work on Dungeon Flippers full time, that'd be the dream for sure. Um, but yeah, I do have a Patreon and merch. I'm thinking of maybe making a new line of merch sometime soon, and stuff, because a lot of that stuff I made back for the pilot, and I feel like there's a lot of fun, just little silly stuff that would be fun to put on T-shirts or posters and stuff. Philip Holmgren. My favorite part from the episode 2 promo was Molly doing the finger guns and saying you're the best. No, yeah, I had fun with that too. I made a gif at some point of just her doing finger guns because it's very cute. Um, for sure. Let's see. Keith Carson says, I still need to draw Molly having coffee with a Charlie from The Has Been. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I remember. I think I remember you posting that, saying that on Twitter way back when. Because no, yeah, like I do feel like Molly and Charlie would be good friends. They are kindred spirits for sure. Her running a hotel and Molly running real estate. Solera says, it must be exhausting and sometimes embarrassing to have a mother like Karen. Oh, for sure. Not to give too much away, but I think that's a lot of the kind of the plot of episode 2 is that is about how Cleveland's embarrassed by his mother and is trying to avoid having her ruin his plans. Uh, so it's tricky, yeah. 'Cause Cleveland wants the business to do well, and sometimes he feels like his mom is a kind of a liability. Because in some ways, because she's been around causing havoc for so long that sometimes she precedes her infamy precedes the business, where it's like Dungeon Flippers. I haven't heard of them. Oh my gosh, is that Cairn? Like the cutter of middlemen? Like, you know. Catherine Pugh says Karen is still a strong, healthy dragon. I feel that if she keeps gaining weight, she may in a few centuries she'll have to take over. Yeah, yeah. At some point, either that or they may have to get a bigger office to fit her in for sure. Of course, episode 2 is a mom episode. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Oh, a river by the sea. Says hi, Travis. Just want to say hi. I can't attend in full because I've been busy all weekend. Have fun, and I hope it's okay to ask more questions next time. When's the next stream? Take care. Oh no, yeah, nice to have you here. Or like in brief. I might do Sunday again next week, or Saturday. I don't know, sometime next weekend for sure. I'm not doing Sunday, partially because I'm busy all day Sunday this weekend. But once again, I've really been enjoying working or doing these streams. So sometime next weekend, I'll be sure to post and let everyone know which day and which time for sure. Let's see. Solera says, I have to say goodbye now. It was nice with you all. Hope there's another stream soon. It was great having you on, Solero. I'm glad you could make it. And, all that stuff. Have a great weekend. Ooh, A River by the Sea says, I've been watching lots of kung fu movies because of our last discussion. They're lesser known, though, but still very good nonetheless. Lots of stuntmen breaking bones and stuff. Uh, no, yeah. Love me some of the old kung fu movies. Let's see. Philip Holmgren says, I missed the start of the stream because you were playing Fire Emblem. But it got me thinking, I bet you could make a pretty good strategy game about real estate and dungeon flippers. Oh, for sure. Like, I think I mentioned last stream too, that just like, there's a lot of really good potential in, like different kinds of video games and board games that you could do with dungeon flippers. Because you could do like a sim game where you know, buy certain lands or build dungeons in certain kinds of land and have different clients to work with or quotas to hit, and kind of the nickel and dime aspect of figuring things out as and running it as a business would be really cool. And both like there's that you could do like kind of cozy decoration-y like Animal Crossing style uh, dungeon games and Monopoly style board game kind of situations. Like, there's so many things you can do with it. Um, so I just need to get Milton Bradley on the phone or talk to find some video game developers or something. A lot of good room for some good games. Makes me wish I knew how to program. End up being too spelled to say cartoony animation. It kind of worked. It may end up being too silly to ever had being completely turned around. But one, it's off screen, and two, I don't know, it might read well. Sometimes, if a lot of my animation schooling ever taught me anything, is you can kind of do a lot of weird. Sometimes doing weird things in the in betweens really makes things look fluid and nice. I remember seeing the old footage of the animators animating Goofy back in the like 50s or whatever, and like they'll do his walk where his foot is the wrong way and his knees are bent backwards and he has 6 fingers on certain frames because it like flows better and all that kind of stuff. And once again, since it's not something I usually get to do, the more traditional cartoony style of animation, it's kind of a fun chance for me to put in some of those old rules to use. Let's see. Philip Holmes, I have to have dinner with my parents and then watching the movie Sheep Detectives. Um, I saw Sheep Detectives like a month ago. It's really good. Hope you have a good time. But this time, even this guy from Sweden was able to watch the stream. No, yeah, once again, for both you and Solero in mind for this stream to be able to not have to stay up to 4 in the morning to watch it. So glad you were here. Can I make animation for Chillet? I know you're a Chillet fan, Dupin, the bunny pal, but I don't think I have it in me to animate Chillin just at the moment. But I don't know, maybe one of these streams. Oh, that's right. Tomorrow's Indie Animation Day. Hoping to see something about Dungeon Flippers. Ooh, that's right. I think like a week ago I was planning on thinking like what can I show for Indie Animation Day? Because we do them so often, sometimes it's hard to have something for every time. Um Maybe I could share like a couple shots of some of the stuff I've been working on. It won't be as a big of a chunk as last Indie Animation Day where I had that whole like big scene with the door. But I might be able to share a few shots of like Mort's office scene or something. Have a little something. That'd be nice. I just know if I show sneak peeks too often, I'll end up showing the entire episode in 40-second chunks. that's coming along. Yeah, sneak peek. Oh yeah, because I just recently finished animating kind of Mort's introduction scene. And I don't want to give the whole scene away, but like I think I could share a few shots from it. Might be nice. Oh, Tea Tiger Cafe. Oh yeah, glad to have you on here. Uh, yeah, I'm working on. There's a couple of like more traditional cartoony shots in episode 2, and I'm kind of working on one of them right now. Working on this animation of Cairn, Cleveland's mom, but her like intimidating these dwarves and then like hitting them with a big sack of gold before she eventually like kicks them out of their dungeon. That's her business strategy. It's very much just like what was it we talked about last week? Grr, like get um something. I don't know, but yeah, intimidating the residents, like paying them off, and then like kicking them out. Um, but no, yeah, and then earlier in the stream, I did this drawing of Molly as a magical girl and Cleveland as tuxedo mask, which was a lot of fun. I'd like to clean this up and color it up and post it on socials sometime later. But this was a lot of fun to draw. I'll have to use some bright, shiny colors for Molly's magical girl outfit. But in the meantime, yeah, I just mostly been working on kind of roughing out this little animated segment. Let's see. I guess I've been doing that for about 2 hours. I feel like I probably got another half hour left in me, because it's noon over here right now, and so like the call of lunch is starting to creep up on me. So I think probably by 12:30 in half an hour, I think I'll probably call it a day. But gotta get a few more of these key poses kind of roughed out. Let's see. Yeah, there's a few parts in this episode where it's it's kind of a Cleveland. It's Cleveland, either Cleveland talking or Cleveland imagining Karen doing things, and they're usually in this cartoony style. In this case, he's like explaining to Molly how she acquired this dungeon through legitimate means. Um, but then later in the episode, there's just a similar style, but Cleveland uh, imagining Karen hosting the open dungeon that they're gonna host, and like seeing her kind of just ruining everything, uh, picking fights with guests and breaking the floor and cutting the whole place in half by accident. Uh, it'll be a fun one to animate that as well. This poor dwarf. The dwarf's name is Hinga, but it's spelled like hinge. He is the dwarven kind of the head person in charge of this door themed dwarven cult. Uh, and his name is Hinga, but he's a fun character. E Carson says, "Gotta go for now, but have fun with the stream. Thank you. It was nice having you show up, having you here." Yeah, this has been a lot of fun animating this shot. Just it's so different from what I'm usually used to. Because I guess one of the the perks of working with rigs is that you don't have to worry about cleanup phase so much. It's kind of like your the rig is the cleaned up animation, and you just have to pose it to where it needs to go. Um, but it's so hard to just be like sketch sketch. Here's a foot, like there it is. Um, but granted, if I were working with more detailed characters and stuff, like it would take a lot of work doing the cleanup. Um, but for this simple design, it's pretty chill. Now I'm daydreaming like, what do I want to do for lunch? Yeah. I ate way too much pizza last night, so I'm like, kind of wanting something that's not too heavy, but like, Saturday. These little jagged tufts from her uh, shoulders. But roughing out cleanup can be a bit long and monotonous, but especially roughing out animation is just so kind of chill and fun. Let's see. Make. I guess her arm could probably be longer actually. There. That needs to be about here. And it could be about there. Yeah, now we're getting somewhere. Yeah, I was getting there. So it'll be a very quick movement, so I probably will use little speed lines. And maybe he had some impact like whack effects. Be nice. And I can kind of do that Captain Underpants kind of thing where I flip back and forth to make my own little animation that's just Karen smacking this dwarf. But at the moment, the dwarf isn't really reacting to it, but that's fun. Whack, whack, whack. Perfectly legitimate business strategy. Nice. All coming together. Womp womp womp. Well, one of those things. I don't know. It's like getting beaten up by a big sack of gold coins that I guess are yours after you get hit with them. Kind of not too bad, I guess, but uh, I don't know too much about Hinga beyond him being this cultist. But yeah, maybe he deserved it. Let's see. Doop doop doop. Overshoot and settle. Then after this, pan off to pan this off screen so we can have the door show up. They all get kicked out. So in many ways, it'll probably just be her reaching back, smacking, with overshoot and settle. And we'll probably keep this pose. And then we just pan away because it's going to be like a split second later. All happens very quick. Very fast. I guess I gotta start working on cleaning these up. Ooh, I'm getting skinny. I guess this pose is drastic enough from the two other key poses that I don't have to worry too much about consistency, aside from the foot that she is using. Oh. Now I'll clean these up some. Got about another 15 minutes left in me. We'll call it a stream. Ooh, let's see. So I was having you on, little Miss Kiwi. Was it a delight? And yeah, I guess for those who didn't hear earlier, yeah, Sarah the Champion is Molly's voice actress who's joining us today. Great having you here on the stream, Sarah. And yeah, we gotta do like a, I don't know, gotta have you on stream, like actually on stream sometime. That'd be a lot of fun. We could do a big drawing thing or some kind of game or something. That'd be cool. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. GR figured out the Molly's voice while walking around in the cemetery. It is very appropriate. Oh yeah. Yeah, moderating would be nice. Yeah. Like some days it's hard to keep track of all the stuff that's going on in chat, for sure. A little more manageable today. He's poised. He's, if he's here in this pose, you should be far away because she's gonna jump somewhere or do something. He's up to no good. Ooh, yeah. Cleveland's conception. Yeah, yeah. I definitely have some secret lore stuff behind that for sure. But no, yeah, because Karen, she didn't really have parenthood in mind uh, for her life. In some ways, a lot of Karen's kind of through line as a creature, as a person, is that she's usually kind of trying to fight against expectation, things like fate, and the natural order of things. She's kind of likes poking holes in a lot of the structure of things, and so she definitely wasn't planning on, on having kids, but stuff happened. fact, I guess a certain lower drop and stuff though. But I forget if I've ever mentioned on socials or whatnot. But that's part of Karen's necklace. Uh, it looks very pretty. It's big, these giant golden spheres around her neck. They're actually kind of like what's the word? They're almost like like a house arrest bracelet, but they're actually kind of a way for higher powers to kind of keep tabs on her. She had a little too much fun poking holes in reality. That reality kind of stepped up as like, we're putting this necklace on you to keep track of you, so you can't do anything that affects fate too much. So sometimes if Karen tries to, I don't know, unalive somebody or affects things too great of great importance, like I don't know, crushing a hero who's destined to save the world, or doing some other kinds of things, like her necklace will actually prevent her from being able to do that. That it's kind of it's a very pretty form of punishment. She does not wear them by choice. I'm trying to think of which way the hands should be facing. Let's see, that's her left, her left arm. Yeah. Granted, this is all off screen. That's fine. There we go. Yeah, we won't be seeing that hand anyway. It's fine. Ooh, Sarah's headcanon is that Karen found Cleveland's egg in a dungeon and was like, well, I guess I, I bought this place and everything in it, so this is mine now. Ooh, that does feel very in character for her. Could be, could be. I can definitely see her doing that. See, what I love about this is you could have just drawn her bottom half off screen, but you went all the way. Oh no, yeah, for sure. I mean, especially since like it's her, which I guess technically this dwarf should be a lot smaller for scale, but to present that kind of scale of her kind of towering over this dwarf and stuff, I really wanted to have the full wide shot of the two of them on screen fully. But then, yeah, very much cartoon logic, reaching off screen to grab the money and then bringing it on. For sure. Foxtronic says, "Got to go. My time's up. Thanks for streaming. Thanks for joining. It's great to have you here." Catherine Pugh says, "Then she got very lucky that this random egg make her son because it looks so much like her." True, they do have a resemblance. In general, I'd love to see uh, so many episodes and stories I'd love to see. But I'd love to see imagining Karen having to do the the egg challenge of like you have to take care of this egg and not break the egg, but the egg is the unhatched Cleveland, where it's like, oh no, I'm usually getting in so many fights and breaking so many things, but now I have this egg. I have to make sure this egg doesn't break. It's very important. It would be a very cute episode. Oh, hello. I'm speaking from Brazil. I'm a fan of yours. Oh, thank you so much for joining us. I'm streaming in for a few more minutes. I'm close to wrapping up on today's stream, but always glad to see a fan. Thanks for stopping by. In general, I'm really like it's really cool that between the YouTube comments and chat that like I'm seeing a lot of the translation things that it's really cool that you know I unfortunately I only know English as a language, but it's so cool to see fans who are not native English speakers being able to communicate with me. That's really cool to read your comments and know that that you enjoyed this. Oh no, yeah, yeah. No, I can't speak Brazilian, but no, the messages get translated into English, and that's really cool. Yeah, Karen's missing her lip there. That's off screen. Yeah. I'm gonna kind of clean up this drawing and then I'll call it a stream. one of those things, working with rigs, both for Dungeon Flippers and day job, I don't do as regular drawing for an artist. And between the warm up sketch and then doing a lot of these drawings, it's it's neat how it's like, oh, I'm kind of getting used to it. I'm kind of getting in the groove, or just being able to draw a lot more quickly, cleanly. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not such a bad artist after all. Joking, of course. But no, it's just nice to actually feel warmed up, drawing wise. I'm gonna have it play just the bits that we've got so far and put it on loop. And I turn off the little sketch I did of the tail. There we go. Always the best part about animating is getting to push the play button afterwards and see it playing all together. It'll be fun getting to like add the in-betweens to those poses of her bringing the the bag of coins down, and it'd be fun to do a little bit of kind of drag and stuff with like her foot, or I guess screen left foot that kind of goes up in the air, like having it maybe like bend and then straighten out as she starts to like pivot back around, and then having it land, and just really kind of doing this silly dragging motion of her kind of like all of her head and the bag and everything kind of leaned back and then very quickly bonk, because that's gonna probably only have maybe one in between. Um, so like I don't know, doing some fun stuff with the in betweens will be neat when I get to that part. But yeah, see, as an animation fan, I follow several animators and their work is at a professional level. Oh, very nice. All right, but yeah, I think that's gonna do it for today's stream. We got this working on this little bit of animation here, and then we'll look back at the this fun drawing of Molly as a magical girl and Cleveland's tuxedo mask. Very fun stuff. Looking forward to cleaning that up later. But yeah, thank you so much everyone for stopping by and following the stream today. I know it was a different time than usual. But yeah, I've really been enjoying streaming on the weekends, and I hope you all had a really great time, and I hope you all have a really good rest of your weekend. And I guess with that, I'll sign off. So see you next stream.